We're going to talk some Spider-Noir. You have a great 1940s old school film noir and superhero. How do you approach the sound when you're trying to balance those two worlds?
A lot of experimentation. So, because it's not something that's ever really been done before, so we weren't sure exactly if it was going to work. And we came in with the idea of let's make it sound really old, like a 1940s Bogart era movie. We made everything mono. We picked sounds not just of the time period, but of the filmic era where we recorded things with older technology. We did things with equalization and mixing it more mono as opposed to being in a giant theater. And then it was just a matter of how do we find how to introduce a modern sensibility to it. And what we ended up doing was starting in a film noir mono, establish this, and then as it becomes more of a superhero show and less of a detective show, we start to expand the palette in the sound and use the space more. So if you see it in a movie theater, if you ever have the opportunity, you'll hear it be much more mono and then spread its way out.
Yeah, and in a home surround system, you could hear it too in such a way where the first spot to really see that is the spider sense coming to life for the first time when he's chasing Addison, and that was where we really wanted to showcase this idea of that he's coming back to life and his sense can hear everything. We've been in the 40s noir-esque film world, but now this is a comic book blockbuster that we're trying to present as well, so we wanted to have that fulfill through all the speakers and have it really have that low end that you would never have in a movie from that era.
That must be an interesting balancing act, though, because you're starting, like you said, mono, old school, but you also can't blow up the sound too quickly, like because the audience will be pulled out. How was the process of progressing it, where you had to kind of pace it a little, almost like saying the editing, pace it so the audience is not totally like, whoa.
Yeah, it's about picking your spots. So we first sort of marked out where the spots that we wanted to be full fidelity were going to be. So that spider sense was one, and then a little bit through the end of that scene where the oil refinery explodes, and then go back down, and then come back again when Cat Hardy sings for the first time in the alcove, and then come back again during the fight with Sandman when the Sandman gets revealed. So it was really picking those spots and then just finding the way to gradually expand out into it, or using a specific sound. So in the case of the Spidey sense, like that warble that we introduced the Spidey sense with allowed us to go from the center channel all the way around the room very organically because that sound demanded that we do that.
And that was very much a choice made that, we wanted to make it sound like the way spiders hear, and the way they hear, we found out, was through their legs, through the web. And that was a great way to tie into the multiverse of kind of where the noir character came from, and having this idea that, well, it should be this low frequency vibration, not high frequencies, because it's all about the vibration of the web. So it was a lot of fun to be able to take that, and Ryan Collins, our effects mixer, moving it around the room the way he did, opening everything up, was so organic and smooth that we want to do it in a way that's subliminal so that you don't know what's happening, and then as we come back down, you're kind of like with the alcove and Cat Hardy singing, he's mesmerized by it, but then he hears one of the goons coming in, and we have to slowly bring that back into the mono-esque feel.
Yeah, so much of sound and what we do is so that you feel it rather than hear it. In a way, and that was one of those elements. Although I kind of describe it as we try to be like a magic trick, where we don't want you to see how the trick is being done, but we want you to be affected by it all, and that's ultimately the goal of what we do as sound creatives.
All right, so is there one particular scene that you're most proud of? It could have been a subtle scene, doesn't have to be a big one. That, what, we pulled this off. This one wasn't easy, but we're really happy dramatically how it paid off.
For me, the Spider Sense moments in general were all great. But one of my favorites was at the end in 108 when we are in that big fight at the very end where we have Sandman and Megawatt, and we have to hear the sand and the electricity and the intensity and the spider thwips and the car going by and slow motion, and doing that and dialing it in very specifically to have that beat to go with the composing score was such a unique experience to feel, and then also take us back down to a quiet moment where Silvermane and Cat have their final moment together and get the audience to feel that eeriness of what's about to come for them. So dynamically, that was so much fun to create and build with the entire team.
And what was your favorite?
I was going to say the mirror scene, the mirror maze sequence with Cat and Silvermane at the end, because that was real opportunity to do a very film noir visual thing and utilize sound in the space in a way that the films of film noirs back in the 40s didn't get to do. So you have Silvermane and Kat's voice sort of ping-ponging around in the glass shards when she shoots the mirrors, filling up the room and everything. And it was just that, like, that's kind of the epitome of the balance between a love letter to film noir and making a modern movie.
Even underneath that, we have that subtle subliminal sound design where we have to lead you to the next mirror, and we have to have these high frequencies and low elements. So like he said, it's just that ode to noir, but keeping it in that modern worldscape.